research on you, trying to find questions that maybe people don't ask you very often. There aren't that many of them. You've been asked everything.
Just about.
Everything.
Some I don't answer.
Well, fair enough. And if we ask you something that you don't want to answer,
Yes.
just say no. That's fine. We won't take offense.
Just say next.
Next, move on. So we were just speaking to Rick, who's an astronaut. He was an astronaut. To Rick Searfrost, who was an astronaut. And you were an ambassador for NASA as well.
Absolutely. I recruited many of the people who became astronauts. I was on the contract to NASA to recruit the first women and minority astronauts for the space shuttle program, because what they were finding is that women and people of color were ignoring it in vast numbers, because they had tried before and they got no answers, nothing, you know, and suddenly they're saying, you know, y'all come. And they were all saying, not on your tin type, because you're just going to tell me no.
Right.
And so on the contract to NASA, I recruited the first women and minority astronauts for the space shuttle program. And the way I did that and how I was successful is that I presented them what they were doing, where they were coming from, and that I understood it perfectly. And they said, oh, well, that's good. And I said, but you can't do that. What you talking about? And then when I explained, somebody made a mistake, somebody did something wrong, somebody was stupid, but it doesn't mean you have to be. I said, what do you mean? Well, somebody seemed to be keeping you out, and now you're helping them.
Right.
And they went, well, if they don't want me, I said, thousands of people want you. Not only that, your family wants you. Your children want you. Your children's children, when they come, will be delighted that you were one of the first African-American astronauts.
History wants you.
History wants you. And I said, so you're part of history, and you can't do that to your family, the people coming behind you, and then all the young people who want to be just like you wanted to be. And now you are.
Yeah.
And you're an image for them. You're saying, I did it, you can do it. I am it, you can be. And they said, I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it that way. One person will remain unknown because he didn't want to be identified as a tear coming down his face. And when I talked to him from my point of view that I was presenting to him against their point of view of not being, you know, I think I turned every last one of them around. And they said, we never thought of it that way. And I said, you had a right to think of it any way that you wanted, but you have young people coming behind you, and you're going to be their hero, and you're denying them a hero. You can't do that. I won't let you. I eyes were like this, and he said, what do you mean you won't let me? I said, I will hound you for the rest of my life. For all the young people coming along who had an opportunity someday to be what you have an opportunity to be right now. and you're qualified. And then I had knew the background on quite a few of them, you know, and I said, and you went to this university, look at all the young people coming behind you at the university, who said, if he could do it, I could do it. If she can do it, I can do it. And they said, how did you know that? I said, I'd do my homework.
FBI.
Yeah, I used my tuchus. But, and that's how I was able to recruit the first women and minority astronauts for the space shuttle program.
That's
I
amazing.
said, you can't say no.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't say no? I said, you got all those young people coming behind you in your family who are going to say, my uncle or aunt turned down what they could have been, you know, that I'm reading about now, famous people who are. And every last one of them said, I didn't think of it that way. They sure picked the right one to come after me, didn't they?
Right.
Many of them said it that, like, you know, they sure picked the right person to get across to me, because now I understand what it means. Now I understand what my responsibilities are. And, you know, my chest just, but I was thrilled, you know, I was thrilled that I could get through to so many.
Yeah. That's
Well, if anyone can, you can, because you've been a fighter for a long time.
Yes.
And you've fought some pretty hard battles.
Yes.
Even before Star Trek and all those things, before the
Yes.
fame exploded, you've had to fight really hard to be both a woman and a minority at the same time to get into that world as it is. And you can say no to this question, but I just want to put it out there.
Okay.
Don't get nervous. And
No, I'll say no if I mean it.
thinking of that struggle and explaining how hard it will be for other people at the time, comparing that to more recent times, like within the last year or two, just actually probably more than that, with like President Obama coming into office.
Yeah, did you recruit him? Did you recruit him for the presidency?
Yeah.
It does seem from an outside.
We knew each other, and I told him you can't say no, so.
I was wondering after your last story, I thought, she got to Obama.
Maybe he was the guy
Because
that
it
said,
reminds me a lot of his presidency.
Yes.
Seeing
Yes.
Obama and his wife and their children in the White House.
Yes.
And how many children that must have affected who
That's
finally
right.
saw a man who looked like them.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So that was
That's
you.
exactly how I got across to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
now, it does seem, because we live here, so from an outside world perspective, looking at America now, it does seem like there's a shift back toward those sort of racist and misogynist almost ideas.
Yeah.
Do you feel that same way? Like, because you grew up in a time when that was the normal, when people who were minorities were kind of put down and put in their place, so to speak, by society.
And women.
And women. It does seem like that's starting to happen again from an outside.
And I don't think that it will ever rise to the level that it was when I came along, because I'm still here. And I and dozens of other people who were responsible for making that change to the right choice. There are too many of us now. I with my vocally speaking for it, and many others who either heard me or rushed to be astronauts, convinced dozens and dozens of others, and kids grew up plotting and planning to become. and discovering they had to know certain things. You know, they had to study. They had to be prepared. It's just one, you just gonna say, oh, hi, I want to be an astronaut, and boom, you're gonna be. You know, it takes intelligence. It takes a know-how. It takes background. It takes determination. It takes a lot, because that's our life. They're representing us, and they're representing the next, their children and their children's children. And when NASA hired me to make that, because they had heard me speak, and a lot of times I would be speaking at something that had nothing to do with that, and I came out and talked about how I felt, and I wasn't under contract to NASA that time, because a lot of NASA people heard me and said, we got to get her. And it was a wonderful time in my life, and still is.
Yes. Cool. And we'll go to something a bit more lighthearted now.
Okay.
But something I had to ask you before. So, back before you started a television acting career, for those who may not know your history before, you were song and dance, like a true entertainer.
Yes.
And a lot of people who have come to conventions have heard you sing the Star Trek theme, which is beautiful. I won't ask you to do that tonight. But I was curious, listening to your older music, back from back then, one of my favorite versions of The Lady is a Tramp is still your version.
My goodness.
It's because normally it's played in a very dark bluesy kind of way, but there's a playfulness in your voice that's so much fun.
Yes.
And it made me wonder, what does she sing when she's at home and no one's listening? What is the thing that, because you never stop singing. What do you actually sing yourself?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I still love That's Why the Lady is a Tramp. But I don't say tramp, I say scamp.
That's a better word.
Yes,
it lightens it a little bit.
That's why the lady is a scamp.
That's great.
Very nice.
I love what we have done with our space program so well, and the fact that so-called minorities and men and women and young people became involved, and young people could look up to them and say, I can be that. What do I have to do? And then you got to find out what do you have to do, and it's studying, and it's heavier than you think. But suddenly, when you realize that, when young people realize that, instead of going, oh, well, I wish I could do it, but I can't do that, well, what do I have to do? So I used to say, you got to go to school anyway. Might as well learn something. And something important. And it seemed to register with young people when I talked to them about the importance of our space program and importance of knowing about it, not only being involved in it, but knowing if you're not an astronaut, you can know a lot about it and what the astronauts had to go through. And I used to go to schools and where young people gather, you know, and they invite me to speak because they thought, I don't know about this, you know, and they came away like saying, I didn't know all of that. I didn't know. And I said, what you didn't know and what I really emphasize is that this is your space program. This is your space program. That's not somebody has something from outer space trying to push you into it. This is our space program, and we need to know as much about it, because you might not want to do it, but your brother might, your sister might, your uncle might, aunt, mother, father may have been involved. And your children and your children's children, even if you don't want to be, you have that responsibility to know what it is that we're paying our tax dollars for.
Yeah.
And that it's worth it.
Yeah.
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 It's exciting with all of the new space programs that are coming.
Yes.
You know, the new companies that are coming in, and
Yes.
now we're looking at asteroids, and we're looking at going to Mars,
Yes.
back to the moon.
Oh, yes. Yes. And the fact that that is possible.
I know.
It is possible. It used to be, I wish I could go to the moon. Yeah. You know, and today you say, I wish I could go to the moon. Go to school.
Yeah.
Go and learn what it takes to get there is the answer, where that answer wasn't there before.
And you're not all talk either, because you haven't gone to the moon, but you've been up there. You've been
Yes.
up in the stratosphere.
Have you?
Yes.
On Sophia.
Yes.
How was that?
Fantastic.
Really?
It was an honor. It was an honor. And I came back, and people would be talking to me. Now this is like months or a year or so maybe later, and I'm going, when was that? And they said, you went to you almost went to the moon. You went, and they have to. I said, oh yes, you mean when I did so and so? And they said yes, because it was on TV, and there was, you know, everybody knew it suddenly except me.
How long were you? Was it just sort of up and then back, or?
Yeah, not all the way.
Yeah.
You know, they hadn't been all the way. Nobody had been all the way. But I went on missions. I was invited and went on missions, and I wrote about it.
That's incredible.
And they were delighted, but I was delighted. It was wonderful. Wonderful.
It's not a bad way to spend a day. There are worse ways to spend your day.
It's a worse way to spend a life.
Now, do you look at your Star Trek coworkers and say, I've actually been to space?
No, I don't, unless someone said, well, you haven't been there, so how can you talk? And I said, but I have, and I can prove it.
Yeah.
So it's all very interesting, and it's wonderful to live on this planet and know that we have access to the world. You know, just prepare, get prepared for it. Be prepared. You may be the one that takes us there.